Another exciting weekend of Strongman we have coming up, and we are here to talk about the Shore Classic. Right guys, it's the Shore Classic this weekend. The third year this contest has taken place, bigger and better than ever. Brian Shaw has added a women's contest and an open class as well. We are here to focus on the men's pro show, but those classes are going to be amazing, doing things to kind of grow the sport. I have two of my clients competing in those shows, but we are talking about the pro men.
Another big improvement this year, Lozzie. We have a live stream. Yes, I'm so happy Brian has made this change. And listening to him talk to you the other day, which you can watch here if you haven't caught it already, you know, I understand the progression and how it's come about. So the first year, it's very experimental, isn't it? It was 10 guys in Brian's gym.
Also done in lockdown.
Yes, in lockdown, really. So it's a wonder he was able to do it at all. But then it was an edited show put on the website. That worked. I really enjoyed the first show. Second year, of course, he's now selling tickets for the live show. It's a much bigger lineup in the second year as well. And we all crashed the website. So I'm so glad he's facilitating the larger audience and we get to watch it live, because I get so jealous knowing something's happening and I don't know what's happening.
The one thing I've been really impressed with Brian is he's taken the criticism that people have had from each show, and every year he's made it better. I think there's been a lot of positive feedback about this show as well, and we of course are excited. We know the athletes are looking forward to it. We know a lot of you guys are looking forward to it as well. So let's dive into it. We've got 15 athletes. We should probably address very quickly, Tom Stoltman has withdrawn from the competition. He's put out a video on his own YouTube channel. Guys, go and check that out if you haven't seen it. Went through a real incident at the airport. We have an autistic son, so we completely sympathise and understand what it is like. He's done so well these last few years, the kind of growth of him as a man, but these are challenging situations. And if you want to know what's happened with Tom, go and check his channel out. Unfortunately, no Tom Stoltman in this show. We do, however, have big brother Luke. He's out there.
We do, yeah.
So Luke Stoltman, I'll quickly go through the athletes and then we'll go through the event. So we've got Luke Stoltman, we've got Maxime Boudreau, we've got Mitch Hooper, we've got Kevin Fairs, we've got Gabriel Rayam, Konstantin Janasha, Trey Mitchell, last year's winner, Jerry Pritchett making his comeback into pro-level strongman, Zydrunas Savickas competing in this show as well, the four-time world's strongest man, Brian Shaw, Evan Singleton, Ivor Schmaukstelis, Gabriel Pena, Bobby Thompson, and Alexei Novikov, 2020 World's Strongest Man winner. What a lineup. So as it stands, we have 9 World's Strongest Man titles in this lineup. Could have been 11, but still 9 World's Strongest Man titles and Zydrunas Savickas.
I know, I'm so glad Zydrunas is doing it. I don't know how he's going to stack up now against these athletes. Because I think, like, you know, I want Zydrunas to have a really good day, but will his really good day get him beyond mid-pack at this point in his career?
Well, Zydrunas did this last year and actually started the contest really well. Unfortunately, picked up an injury along the way. He's been doing smaller contests back home in Lithuania. He's looking massive.
He does look big
as well.
And that's Zydrunas in shape,
and when we go through the events in a second, there's events in here that he's going to be dangerous on. You obviously, you know, whether he's the log lifter that he used to be, he's probably not, but he's still a damn good log lifter. Gotcha. He's very strong. He was a world record holder in the Hummer deadlift at one point. I think leg press could be a really good event for him as well. So we'll go through the events and then we'll tell you our predictions for the competition. But Brian is running an 8-event competition split over 4 events each day. Really how strongman should be. 5 events for me is not enough to decide who's the best at something. It's good for like a one-day show, no issues with that, but when you want to find out who is the best, you need a little bit more.
It's hard to
challenges.
cover everything with just 5 events, isn't it? Every strength, every test of strength that strongmen go through.
Yeah, and you know, if you've watched these videos over the last few years, you see I very much support the events that Brian puts on. I think he's very good at picking the right kind of challenges and the right weights to challenge, but not be too crazy in terms of weights as well. So we're starting off with the Max Hummer tire deadlift. Now, such a shame JF Karan is out injured, the record holder on this event, but we have some great deadlifters. Now, who remembers the battle between JF and Jerry Pritchett 2 years ago on this event? Those two pushing each other, 2 extremes, 2 world records. It was an amazing event. I'd love to see Jerry in that kind of form again.
Yeah, definitely. And this always used to be a good event for Brian as well.
Brian and Zydrunas, both of them in their prime were very, very good on this event. I think Mitch Hooper will be worth looking out for, and I think Trey Mitchell as well.
Yeah.
Trey, last year's champion. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in this one.
And I'm really happy that he's doing this as event 1 on day 1 instead of day 2. So the guys are going to come in super fresh and we're going to see what they've got.
Yeah. Event number 2 is going to be the bag over bar. So essentially a throwing event. Now, for me, there's 2 guys that you look out for on this event. Brian Shaw, always been great at throwing events, and Maxime Boudreau. Maxime's throwing over the last few years has been incredible.
Do you remember him last year on this event?
Yeah.
He just mogged everyone. He
destroyed
was
everyone.
Yes.
And Maxime has a few good events in this contest. He's going to be a threat. There's a couple of maybe weaknesses in there as well. But if he's on form, it's going to be, he's going to do well. But his throwing is something to watch. So definitely look out for him. Who else do you think can really challenge on this event?
Zydrunas has always been brilliant at throwing. Mitch Hooper, how's his throwing?
So I'm looking forward to seeing Mitch on this. He's not been tested in this type of level of competition, but he's got all the attributes to be a good thrower. The one thing with a throwing event is you can be really good at it, but you can make a mistake.
You can burn out quickly as well.
You can burn out if you make a mistake.
I think this could be not dangerous, but somewhere where someone like Evan has to be really careful, because you know how hard Evan goes all the time.
He'll either smash it or make mistakes.
Exactly, yeah.
I think, it's going to be one of those events that could upset the scores.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
a harder one to predict. Even I've gone against guys that I thought were going to destroy me on it, and the pressure of the competition just made Travis Altmaier, I'm talking about, he's an amazing thrower, and one competition I was kind of ahead of him on the points, and he knew he had to do well, and that pressure just got to him, and he made mistakes, and he's a much better thrower than me. It's just one of those events. Trajectory is as important as power and height, so getting everything timing right. If you make one mistake, it can throw things off. Event number 3 is the super yoke, 506 kilos, challenging weight.
It's heavy, yeah.
It is. We've got some great athletes on the super yoke in this event, though.
It's going to be hard to look past Mitch Hooper for this one. I know Brian likes a heavy yoke and that suits him much better, but Mitch seems to be able to move quickly with any weight yoke.
Mitch's yoke is absolutely blistering, but there are some other athletes that are awesome as well.
Yes.
So 2 other athletes I think are worth mentioning. Evan Singleton on the yoke, he is very rapid. And we've not spoken about him, but Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
Novikov is fast when it comes to moving with weights.
I hope Novi's okay, because he's, if he's going, I'm sure he's okay. The man's a walking miracle, and you'd never really bet against him, would you?
I spoke to him the other day. He said he's okay. And one thing we know with Novikov, he doesn't just turn up.
No, never.
Even if he's not in his best shape, he's going to give 100%.
Yeah.
I've never seen him not try a competition.
Oh no, on a single event, I've not seen him not try.
I think the fact that he's going to be there, he's going to be trying, he's going to be... He's not been off the podium in 11 international competitions.
Yeah. I just hope he doesn't burn out like he did at World's Strongest Man towards the end, just pushing... I know, he'd be fine. It's Novikov. It's going to be fine. Everything will be fine.
And talking of Novikov... When you talk about dumbbell pressing, you talk about Novikov. Yes. So one of his absolute best events is up next. And, can you see anyone in this lineup beating him on a dumbbell?
No one's going to touch him. I don't think anyone in the world touches Novikov right now. A very healthy Mateusz, yes, but...
Unfortunately, we've not seen that for a while. It'd be good to see him back. But right now, Novikov is the number 1 in the world on the dumbbell. Again, Brian Shaw, very good at dumbbell. Evan Singleton was doing well on dumbbell last year. Unfortunately, he's had that shoulder issue, and I think maybe, we watched him at the Royal Albert Hall. Is he kind of recovered from that? I don't know. We're going to have to... He's a question mark. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Mitch on this.
Yes.
Mitch has been improving fast, did well at the Royal Albert Hall, and the training videos that we had planned, he hit a PB 120 for 3 in the gym, and it looked comfortable. He's tweaked a few technical things, he's looking good, and his conditioning is good as well. So looking forward to seeing Mitch on that one.
How is Trey's dumbbell?
Trey's someone in this comp, I think he's very, very good all round.
Solid, isn't he?
Very solid. There's only one event I see in this competition where potentially there's weakness for Trey.
Okay.
And I feel, as the defending champion that Trey is, he's coming to this to win.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He's not done other competitions.
No,
he's been very
fresh.
focused on his training for this competition. So I'm looking forward to Trey, but we'll talk more about the overall in a second. So this is an interesting event, the log lift this year.
Yeah.
We've had log for max in the past. We've seen log for reps in many competitions. This time, the athlete's doing log for reps, but there are 3 options. I think there's 172 kilos, 186 kilos, and a 200 kilo log. Now, I'm not 100% clear on the weights, but I understand that the heavier log, so if you do a 200 kilo log for 1 rep, that will be any amount of reps on the lighter reps.
Okay.
I haven't seen the official rules, so if any of you guys do know this, please comment below and let us. I'm not sure if you can try a lighter log first and kind of work up to the heavier log, or you can try the heavier log first and drop down. I don't know if you've got enough time to do that.
Yeah.
It may be the fact that you pick a log and you've got to do as many reps as you can.
Because Arnold's have done things like this before, haven't they, with different weight logs, different weight dumbbells. Yeah.
This is something I wanted to talk to Brian about the other day. Unfortunately, we didn't have as much time as I would have originally liked. But it's going to be an interesting one. You look at the lineup of log lifters, we've got Bobby Thompson, you've got Luke Stoltman, you've got Zydrunas Savickas in there. Maxime's a good log lifter. Trey is a good log lifter.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guys here that can lift some big logs. What kind of shape are they in? Do they take the risk to go for that 1 rep on the heavy log? Do you kind of play it safe and get reps in with a lighter one? Could be a very interesting event that really messes things up as well.
Yeah.
One mistake, if you go in there and say, right, I'm going to go straight for that 200 kilos.
And you don't get
and
it.
you miss it. Even if you are allowed to drop down, sometimes that panic sets in, the energy expenditure as well. It could be a very interesting event. So looking forward to seeing what happens on that one. But obviously, you look out for the likes of Luke Stoltman, Bobby Thompson. Those are the big log lifters. A healthy Zydrunas.
Yes.
I'm not sure what kind of shape Zydrunas' pressing's in, but I look forward to seeing. Second event in day 2 is the Medley. It's a frame carry into a very heavy arm over arm. Now, this was challenging last year.
Yeah, it was.
Not many of the guys managed to complete this event. I think it was a wheelbarrow last year. So we've got a frame this year, and grip strength is going to be fatigued. You've got that frame burning out your grip before you even get to the rope.
Yeah.
Your forearms are going to be on fire. Your hands are going to be sore. You're going to have to be a mammoth of a man to finish this one.
I know who's not going to like this. Zydrunas. He hates arm over arm. Hates it.
That's true. He's never been the biggest fan of arm over arm in the world.
But I think will do very well is Maxime.
Maxime, could do very well on this one. I think also someone like Novikov. Novikov got that endurance.
Yeah.
He's very quick on a frame, and I think he's athletic, and his grip is good enough for this type of thing. His endurance is very good, whereas like maybe the brute strength in terms of grip strength isn't quite as good. His endurance is solid.
The good thing about Alexei, he can move so quickly with the weight that he doesn't have to hold it for as long as the slower guys.
Another guy to look out for here will be Kevin Fairs.
Yes, of course. Kevin
is someone.
Yeah.
Kevin's weird. No one ever talks about Kevin.
Kevin's weird.
Kevin was 4th at this event last year.
Yeah.
And we all kind of forget that. He is a very consistent performer. Just hasn't quite reached that podium level to make us always kind of talk about him. But one of the smallest but strongest athletes you're going to see. Then we move on to the car leg press. I know this is an exciting one. Brian has been excited when he was telling people about this, you could just see.
He was excited, yeah.
So leg pressing a car. You've all seen leg presses in gyms. We've all seen people putting people onto leg presses and stuff like that. Brian thought, sod that, we're going to put a car up there. So these guys are actually going to be lifting a car. I've seen leg press done once before in a competition at World's Strongest Man, and it actually was people. So they had like a platform where people were sat on it.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
But this time we have a car. There's going to be a marker that people have to come down to. Yeah. And the way it's set up in terms of safety features sounds very good. Talking to Brian again, he's thought about that. So hopefully it should be a great event. And you look at the lineup, Zydrunas for me.
Zydrunas has been leg pressing longer than a lot of these guys have been alive, hasn't he? Like,
I think Trey Mitchell is built to leg press.
I think Bobby Thompson
I was just going to say as well, Bobby Thompson is someone that you would expect to be able to put in a good number on this. I know some of the athletes are a little bit concerned about it.
Surely Luke Stoltman as well, with those big thick legs.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
I mean, my only concern with Luke is I don't think he's in great form right now. I know after Worlds, Luke and Tom just wanted a bit of time off.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to go there and try hard, but I don't expect him to be in his absolute best shape. So we'll see how Luke does. If he is in great shape, that'll be awesome. But from what I've heard, he's just, he's been on holiday. He's been taking some time off, and he's trying to get back into training now. So I don't expect to see the absolute best from Luke. But yeah, guys like for me, guys like Trey, guys like Brian, guys like Bobby, they have all been focused on this competition.
Yeah, so they're coming in much fresher as well, aren't they, than some of the other guys. See, if you said to me, leg press in a competition, I'd think, oh, really? But put a car on top and I am on board. Seriously, like, this is Strongman though, isn't it? It was always the big, heavy, awkward, weird.
Just looks visually impressive.
Yes. Love it.
And the way Brian's made it's a very wide plate, so people can have their feet in any position that suits them. Yeah. They're taking pictures of everyone's setup to make sure that they can compare when they come out, because athletes do like to cheat a little bit on these type of events.
I've already had people asking where they can buy these foot pictures from.
You guys are weird. But no, I think it's going to be a good event, and I think, second to last event, the guys are going to be quite tired by this point. Yeah. Some of them will push harder than others, I think, when it comes to the leg press. If you've ever done a high set of leg pressing in the gym, it's fatiguing. Yeah. You get off and you're like all over the place. And then you think they've got to move on to a heavy set of Atlas stones, 159 kilos up to 204 kilos. Some great stone lifters again, the likes of Brian Shaw, the likes of Maxime Boudreau. We keep talking about him, but Trey Mitchell is a great stone lifter. Ivers is back in form. He's been training a lot harder. He's done well on stones before. I think we are in for one hell of a competition this weekend. So Lizzie, it comes down to prediction time as always. Now I'm just going to quickly go through my thought process, because this is a very interesting competition where you've got some guys that have been solely focused on it. They have peaked. They are in great shape. Those guys are the likes of Maxime Boudreau, the likes of Kevin Fairs, the likes of Gabriel Rayam, Trey Mitchell, Brian Shaw. Obviously,
as much as he can.
There's always pressure when you're organising everything. He said he had to miss out on one of his last heavy deadlift sessions. There's a lot of pressure when you're organising, but he is in shape for this show. There's no question about that. Bobby Thompson as well. There's other athletes that have been busy, the likes of Mitch Hooper, Evan Singleton, Alexei Novikov. They've all been competing very regularly recently. Their bodies are going to be a little bit more beat up. Evan is a big question mark for me.
Yeah, I'm worried about Evan. Like, I think he'll be okay, but he's one of those all or nothing people. He will not do everything he can to win every single event.
Yeah,
and it's so soon after last week. Obviously, he had health issues last week. He's been given the all clear and everything. And just on a personal level, I really like Evan. I just want him to do well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I hope he's just okay.
Yeah,
I personally think Evan needs a little bit of a rest. And we want to see him back to his best. I'm not having Evan in my top 3 because of what I've seen recently in terms of performance and in terms of
endurance.
Trey Mitchell, that is someone that's got to be in predictions for this competition.
I've got my predictions. Like, I'm ready. If you want to go, let's go.
Well,
do you want to hear my top 3 first, and then we'll do your top 3.
Okay,
then we'll go
let's go for your top 3.
All right, hear me out. Number 1, Trey Mitchell again. Trey has been really focused. I think these are really good events for Trey overall. I don't see any glaring weaknesses, and he knows how to win now. Because sometimes that's a little bit of a barrier, isn't it?
Yeah, winning that first big comp.
Happened to JF because he was leading, wasn't he? But Trey knows how to push through. I think Trey can win this again this year. Second place, I got Brian.
Yeah.
Just because, it's Brian. Is it like Brian has a home advantage? Like, I don't think we should try and deny that. I know he has. Maybe some of that is counteracted by the fact that he is organising it, but they're good events for Brian as well. I don't see any glaring weaknesses there for him. And then third place, and I feel like I'm taking a bit of a gamble, but I'm going to go for Mitch Hooper because he hasn't let us down yet. And also, this is what he's been training for. Last week was a training session for him and he came second. Yeah,
he was second last week. So what about your 4th and 5th?
This is where it gets tricky. So like Maxime Boudreau, I think he can win a couple of events here. But I also think he can come last on a couple or close to last. I hope his yoke has improved.
I think the issue for Maxime is probably the yoke and the deadlift. I think this deadlift probably suits him more than a standard deadlift.
I think so too, yeah.
But the yoke needs improving at this level.
Yeah.
He has been improving apparently. We'll have to see how much.
Yeah. See, I think Bobby Thompson, I think he can do really, really well on a couple of events, but I do see some weaker events for Bobby. The Atlas Stones, which obviously we saw at this year's World's Strongest Man. Bag over bar. Bobby's not the tallest, and he's not that type of, is he?
Yeah.
And also possibly the medley as well for Bobby.
Yeah, I would agree with some of those comments as well. So,
and then I've got to have Alexi, because it's Alexi in my top 5. So, yeah.
But it is a very hard one again to predict.
Is.
I mean, Trey Mitchell is an obvious standout. I think Brian Shaw is an obvious standout. I think Mitch Hooper is an obvious standout. I think guys that should not be overlooked are Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Fairs should not be overlooked.
Yeah. It's hard when there's so many good guys. You can't put them all in.
Yeah. Zadrunas is an unknown. Can he get through this level of competition and these kind of challenges? He's been doing competitions, but anytime we've seen him step up to, I mean, we've only really seen him step up to this level once in the last few years, and it was at the Shaw Classic last year. Unfortunately, picked up a calf issue. I think with the events, if Zadrunas can get through, he can be in the top 5.
Do you think?
I really do.
I think maybe 6th
max
or
deadlift.
7th.
Max deadlift.
Yeah.
He could still pull a big hammer deadlift. Age doesn't seem to affect those type of events as much as, say, it might his explosiveness on like a throwing event.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the yoke is heavy suits him.
Yeah.
Dumbbell, maybe a question mark. He was never the best dumbbell presser, even at his strongest, but he did have ridiculous power. It's more of an explosive event, so maybe not so good. Log lift, I believe he's still capable of pressing that 200 kilo log.
Oh, yeah, I think so too, definitely.
And I think 1 rep on that 200 kilo log is going to get decent points in this competition. 2 reps with it will be immense, because I don't think Luke is in his strongest pressing shape. And really, you're looking at Trey Mitchell and probably Bobby Thompson as
the biggest competition there.
Yeah. Medley, he's going to struggle. Leg press, I think he can do very well. Stones, I think he'll be solid. So he's going to need a bit of luck, but he is capable of being in the top 5.
You know who else is a big question mark, and we haven't really mentioned? Janasha. Yeah. On his day, Janasha is brilliant, and these would be great events for him as well. But I don't know what shape Janasha's in. The last couple of times we've seen him, he's been carrying these little injuries. He's not been his normal
just not
self.
been proven in the last few performances. So, I mean, all these things we can talk about, there's so many great athletes in it.
You can't
One
put
little
all in
mistake
there, can you? Yeah.
can change everything. But I am going to go for Mitch Hooper as my winner.
Are you?
Now, people will say I'm crazy. I said I think Mitch can do really well in this competition to someone last week. And they're like, how do you think he can do that? This is a higher level competition. He came second last week. This is a completely different group of events.
Yeah.
And, I think Mitch can do well on the deadlift. I think he's built well to throw. Now, it is a question mark. He's not been proven at this, so maybe he makes a mistake, but I think he's more than capable of scoring big points on the throw. His super yoke, I think he'll win.
Yeah.
His dumbbell pressing is getting really good. He's not going to beat maybe a Novikov, but I think he can really hang with everyone else. Log lift, I think he's capable of a rep with 200 kilos. Medley, I think he can be quick at. And leg press is a question mark. He's a strong leg presser, but it's just an event we haven't seen at this level.
Atlas stones, I
actually think that it's a heavier set of stones suits him. I think he'll finish the stones,
because we've seen him do stones 3 times in competition now. First time, stumble injury. 2 times at Giants Live he's made a mistake, but granted, hold on, I think the first set was the heavier set of Atlas stones at the Strongman Classic.
That's still not as heavy as these stones.
No, it's true.
And also Mitch doesn't have issue lifting heavy stones.
No.
What he needs practice on, he's still we all forget this, he's still so new to it. He needs to get better at transitioning between stones, and he needs more practice on runs. So I actually think the fact that it's heavier suits him. I don't think he'll win the stones by any means, especially against the likes of Trey and Maxime and Brian. But I think he can be in that position where he's fighting for a chance. So as a coach, I'm going to kind of, I'm going for him.
You're backing your boy.
I'm backing
That's
him.
all right.
And he, I never thought he was going to get the 505 deadlift, and he kind of...
You're honest.
I'm very
no
honest
one can
with,
say you're
with
not
my
honest
athletes,
about these yet.
But I genuinely believe there's no big weakness in there. So he's going in, he feels recovered from last week.
Love to see it.
I'd love to see it too. I think second place is going to be Brian Shaw.
Okay.
I think Brian is going to be very hard to beat. He's going to be consistent. There's no weakness for Brian as well. And I'm going to say Trey. Trey gets third. I'm going to say Alexei Novikov gets fourth. I can't believe I'm putting Alexei off a podium.
I know. It's so unnatural.
Yeah.
It's rare I have him off first.
I know. And you know what? I'm going to go for Kevin Fairs in fifth.
You're not putting Maxime in your top 5. This is all very interesting.
I know. Maxime probably thinks I don't like him. I really do. And I think he's a great athlete. And I do think Maxime could win some of these events.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he has a couple of events that he might come near
He's going to be a bit more up and down.
Maybe just makes it a bit harder. But it also wouldn't surprise me to see Maxime in, 3rd place.
No,
or something
not
like that.
at all, no.
I think it just takes one mistake. Evan Singleton, if he has recovered fully from last week, could be great. He's just not been proving it recently. His performances, even in the last few shows, have been a little bit down on what he was doing last year when you compare. So I have to go on what I'm seeing at the moment. So for me, Mitch Hooper, he's in good shape currently. I'm going for him for the win. Brian Shaw has proven time and time again. And I think the fact that he's been focused on this, he's going to do well. And Trey's been very quiet, which means he's been training hard.
Yeah,
he's not he's not a talker.
Man.
He's not someone that kind of puts himself out there, but he's working hard.
He's just getting the job done.
And we know from experience he does very well with this type of competition. So that is my top 3.
There we go then, guys. As always, we would love to hear your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. We will include links to the competition in the description. Now, some people have found it a bit confusing. I'll admit I was one of them, but it's $14.99 for the pro show, which runs Saturday and Sunday, and it's $4.99 for the open men's and the pro women's show. So $20 all in, I think, and the link is in the description below.
We'll be bringing you our analysis from each day, so make sure you check out those videos. Having an amazing weekend, guys, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.